Rising right out the top, the backside. So cool. Hey everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm gonna be checking out the MSI MPG GUNGNIR 120R gaming PC case. I did receive this product to review, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this case or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. They walk you through some of the key features on this side right here. USB 3.2 Gen 2x2, Type-C ARGB, magnetic filter, optimized airflow, ARGB control board, tempered glass, you get the idea. And we have some additional tech specs on this side of the box as well. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and look at the contents. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature featuring a quick install guide and a full user guide right here, walking through the included accessories, tech specs, case features. We also have a side and front view, I/O panel, SSD hard drive installation, opening the side covers, motherboard install, graphics card installation. We have our power supply install, control board specs, ARGB fan connection right here. Next, we have our kit included our screws, zip ties, everything we need, couple adapter cables. And lastly, we have the case itself. Let's go ahead, let's look at this in more detail. Here's the case up close. We have a magnetic cover at the top. We also have our power button. We have our reset button. We have our indicator light, USB Type-C, USB Type-A, mic jack, headphone jack, LED control button right there. Front of the case, up at the top, we have our MSI logo, 2 see-through windows, plenty of ventilation and breathability all throughout. And then we can go ahead, we can pull up from the bottom to remove the front panel. Front panel has been removed. Here's an inside look of the panel. We also have the front without the panel on now. We have a nice removable dust screen right here with 3 120mm MSI branded RGB fans. Here's a look at the bottom of the case. We have 4 really nice and solid feet with a good couple inch gap here from the bottom for some additional airflow and breathability. We also have a nice dust screen right here. This one's not magnetic, but it still is removable as needed to clean and provide some nice air for your power supply unit. Here's a look at the very back of the case. We have an additional 120mm RGB exhaust fan, PCI expansion slots. We have our motherboard slot right there, our power supply section at the bottom. Here's a look at the solid rear side panel. Here's a look at the same side with the panel removed. Nice cable management channel right here with Velcro for us to use. Additional slots to route our cables to our motherboard. We have our lovely RGB hub back here. 2 3.5-inch hard drive slots and trays. 2 SSD for 2.5-inch drive mounts right here. Plenty of room for a power supply at the bottom, routing cables up this side as well and throughout the top depending on our cooling and fan situation. Here's a look at the tempered glass side panel on the front. Now the panel has been removed, we can see inside the case where we can mount our motherboard, our nice shroud for our power supply with a cutout window here, MSI's logo and branding, our exhaust fan, our 3 front panel fans, so 4 included RGB fans total. Plenty of room in here to build however we see fit, mounting some cooling options up top or along the front right here and rearranging those fans. Now let's go ahead and get our PC built. All right, we got our PC built. Check it out. Everything looks great, and most importantly, it's working great. Let's go ahead, let's look at it up close. I mean, check this out. So first up, we got our cutout here for our power supply in the shroud. Next up, we have our MSI godlike motherboard crammed in here. Yes, I know this board is huge and it actually blocks all of our cable management channels right here, but we do have room right here down at the bottom where I took out the hard drive tray. We can run all of our cables there. So I guess with this being small and compact, you could still do a monster build in here. And we have plenty of room up at the top. We don't have any fans or cooling or anything right there. If we wanted to do that, we could. We have our radiator on the side. It fits great. We have a 3070 Ti jam-packed in here as well with room to spare. Beautiful cooler, our exhaust fan as well. So everything looks really nice from the front. Let's go ahead, let's check out the back. Here's that look at the back side. So we have our Velcro channel right here with all of our cables running down and up through the bottom where we took out that included 3.5-inch hard drive tray that could store 2 drives. Again, you have these grommets for a smaller size motherboard. If you want to go big or go home like we did with our Godlike motherboard to make this an all MSI build, then your choice is what we did here and route everything up through there. Power supply, plenty of room to get everything in and up as needed, and along this side too with our CPU power. Everything came together really nicely. Still have room for 2.5-inch SSDs if we wanted. A lot of room in the back to configure this however you really want. Now let's talk about the RGB. So we have that hub connected on the back and we have a dedicated LED light for it. So watch what happens here. As I press the button, we can cycle through all the different color settings that we have here. So really fun, really nice, super convenient to have. You don't have to get any additional software. You don't have to use Mystic Light or anything like that if you don't want to. You can just configure and control all of your fans right here with a lot of different presets. And the RGB looks fantastic on this case. Look at how nice they are. So again, you can just cycle through solid colors, couple different effects right here, built directly into the case. If you want to use Mystic Light, which we'll look at now, this was really helpful to me. You'll have to hold down this button for about just a couple of seconds till it flickers. So we're holding it down. There we go. Now we'll be able to configure and change everything within Mystic Light. Now I'm in Mystic Light on the computer itself. Again, this is just because we're using an MSI motherboard, so that's what's going to control our RGB here. Currently, we have everything set to a steady red light, but watch what happens here. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put rainbow as our style. We're going to hit apply, give it a second, and then it will change all the fans, and now everything's rainbow. So multiple ways to control with this case, whether you want to use the dedicated button up top or your motherboard's lighting software. Now it's time to talk about temperatures with this case. We have all the panels on, PCs at idle. Here are the results that we're getting. First up, you're looking at the MSI temperatures right there for the motherboard, monitoring the whole system. Then we have our Intel Core i5-11600 CPU, showing currently it's at 24 degrees Celsius. We hit a max of 36 and a minimum of 23. Next, we have our M.2 drive, currently showing 39 degrees Celsius. That stayed steady. That's our min and our max and our current value. Then we're looking at our RTX 3070 Ti, currently at 32.2 degrees Celsius, with a minimum of 32.1 and a maximum of 32.3. Now let's put this under a full load and stress test and see how those temperatures change. So we're using Cinebench to stress the PC. I've run this a couple of times to make sure it's really warmed up for us. Here's a look at our temperatures right now. Again, you're looking at the MSI motherboard temps for the whole system. Next, we have our Intel Core i5-11600. We hit a max of 59 degrees Celsius. Currently, under this full load, it's going to hover between 57 and 58 with that peak of 59. Our M.2 drives showing 44 degrees Celsius with a peak now of 45. And our RTX 3070 Ti is coming in at 35.5 degrees Celsius with a peak of 39.8 degrees Celsius. Now we're stressing the GPU in this case, so you can get a feel for the performance. Again, all of this is going to vary depending on your build, how you have your case configured. But currently we're showing using FurMark 99% utilization for our GPU. And our temperature is right around 70 degrees Celsius. Under full load, we peaked at 70.5 degrees Celsius. Now it's time for my favorite test, where you're going to see the airflow of this case in real time. We're going to be using the smoke machine here. We're going to be spraying it in the front with our 3 intake fans, and you'll be able to see it come out the top and the back where we have our exhaust fan. There's nothing currently configured at the top here, so it is just empty. We could add more fans for additional cooling in the future, but I want to point out too that we have our GPU currently under full load, so we have triple fans fired up and moving in the case as well, bringing some of that air up from the bottom. So watch, as we go ahead and fire this up. Look at that. Amazing. Rising right out the top, the backside. So cool. So naturally, just the warm air's rising right here, and then our exhaust fans kicking in, really pushing a lot of that air out the back, with some help from the triple fans, giving more warm air from the GPU off right here. So it's coming in, cooling on the radiator, and then being forced out the back, and some even out the top. So if you're looking for a mid-tower case, I really only have good things to say about this case. Very easy and enjoyable build experience. No defects, anything like that. So I'm really happy with the build quality. It really comes down to what are you looking for, and will everything you want to build in your PC fit in a case like this? If it does and you like the aesthetics, then go for it. Obviously, keep in mind you might see better or worse performance in your case depending on the parts and components that you configure with yours, but I'm really happy with this case overall.